This is the very first 47 daily of the year. The very first 47 daily of the year that President Donald Trump returns to office in just a handful of days. January 20th, the inauguration set in D.C., and the entire world is saying this thing, man, it just can't come soon enough. President Donald Trump, like most of the world, pretty much, I guess, all of the world, was celebrating New Year's Eve. He was at Mar-a-Lago, his home with his family and his friends and a lot of his co-workers and campaign aides. And of course, Elon Musk and Melania Trump were there as well. And a couple of interesting things happened. First of all, the Village People performed live, and they did a special tribute version of their now iconic song that Donald Trump has been using for his campaigns. He's created a viral dance to it. And instead of saying young man, they actually changed the lyrics at one point to Trump man. Yeah, and that's all we can play because we don't want to get struck with any kind of copyright infringement warnings. But President Trump was also asked by the press, who were also there, what he thinks is going to happen in 2025, or more specifically, what he hopes will happen in 2025 with the beginning of his second administration. Here is what President Trump said.
Well, just great, a great year. I think we're going to do fantastically well as a country. We're going to bring it back. It has to be brought back. People are not respecting our country very much, and they're going to respect us a lot. I think a lot of progress has been made over the last 5 weeks. It's been pretty amazing when you look at what's happened. There's a whole light over the whole world, not just our country. There are a lot of very happy people.
That was Tuesday night, right before the clock struck midnight in West Palm Beach, Florida at Mar-a-Lago. And then, of course, we know what happened hours later, right after 3 o'clock in the morning in New Orleans. There was that deadly terror attack, which now reportedly has killed 15 people and injured dozens more. An ISIS sympathizer, we believe. That's the word on the street. Somebody who had been radicalized by ISIS, which is an organization that Donald Trump destroyed in his first administration. And wouldn't you know it, they're back, and they're attacking Americans on American soil just days before President Trump takes office. There was another attack in Las Vegas involving a Cybertruck outside of Donald Trump's hotel, the Trump Tower, the iconic casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. So apparently, it looks like two somewhat coordinated attacks by similar individuals with similar ideologies and disgust for the United States of America and potentially Donald Trump and Elon Musk and some of his other cohorts. But a big investigation ensuing. So unfortunately, we're beginning the new year with the investigation into two terror attacks, one of them which could have been targeted or symbolically targeted against the president of the United States and Elon Musk. President Trump, of course, released a statement. He said, "When I said that the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. Our hearts are with all of the innocent victims and their loved ones, including the brave officers of the New Orleans Police Department. The Trump administration will fully support the city of New Orleans as they investigate and recover from this act of pure evil." Now, investigations show that there was some military service by one or both of these individuals. There was surveillance video at the border with the truck coming across, all kinds of questions that need to be answered. And that's going to be, like I said, what law enforcement is going to be doing over the next couple of days. However, President Trump, especially after the attack in Las Vegas outside of his signature Trump Tower, not happy with American law enforcement and blaming, of course, Joe Biden once again. Here was a statement he released yesterday. "Our country is a disaster, a laughing stock all over the world. This is what happens when you have open borders with weak, ineffective, and virtually non-existent leadership. The DOJ, FBI, and Democrat state and local prosecutors have not done their job. They are incompetent and corrupt, having spent all of their waking hours unlawfully attacking their political opponent, me, rather than focusing on protecting Americans from the outside and inside violent scum that has infiltrated all aspects of our government and our nation itself. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to our country. The CIA must get involved now before it is too late. The U.S. is breaking down. A violent erosion of safety, national security, and democracy is taking place all over our nation. Only strength and powerful leadership will stop it. See you on January 20th. Make America great again." So President Donald Trump Noticing what everyone else has been noticing and what I myself have been saying is that the most dangerous months in American history will be between the election and Inauguration Day. When Joe Biden and the Democrats know that they've totally lost power and we're just waiting, counting the days for strong leadership to return, that is when all the evil forces in the world are going to wreak havoc. That's when they're going to realize this is their last-ditch effort. If they ever wanted to harm the American people, if they ever wanted to do harm to America, if they ever wanted to infiltrate any of our agencies or attack our individuals, now would be the time to do it, because Joe Biden, pardon me, is on his way out and Donald Trump is on his way in, and there is a gap, a lull in protection. Anyone seeking to come across the border illegally, they've got until January 20th before that border is shut down. And that is causing, I believe, an onslaught of these events. We've seen the drones flying around in the Northeast, supposedly looking or searching for something. And now we see these violent terror attacks. Hopefully, we've seen the last of it, and hopefully Joe Biden and his, in his remaining few days as president, will buckle down and take care of these things. He was asked, by the way, at the airport, they cornered Joe Biden on the way. I guess he was going to Camp David or arriving from Camp David, or he was going somewhere to relax because he's very tired. They asked him. Here was his response to the terror attacks. I don't. What do you think they talk about when he calls the CIA, the FBI? Do you think they look at it and they go, "Oh, he's calling. What are we?" Yes, Mr. President. Yes, we're on. I don't know. It just seems like not a phone call that they would be really interested in taking. But that was Joe Biden's reaction. He's not really saying anything. He says he's on top of it. He says he's working with the agencies. And as soon as we have more information, we'll get it. There are people out there worried. In fact, Elon Musk was very helpful, apparently, in the investigation, especially with the Cybertruck in Las Vegas, where he worked with the law enforcement agencies, gave them information about the construction of the Cybertruck, how he feels these explosives could have it had been detonated or erupted. There was camera footage from all of the charging stations between Colorado and Las Vegas, which was the route this bomber supposedly took. And so it's been really interesting to see the technological advances Elon Musk has made and how now they are being used to help with law enforcement in this particular incident. The Daily Mail has a lot of photos, new photos, about the bombing of the Cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel. The bomber who blew up a Tesla Cybertruck outside the Trump International Hotel has been identified as Army veteran Matthew Livelsberger. Although officials have not publicly named him, 37 years old, as the bomber, senior law enforcement sources confirmed his identity to KOAA and KTNV. Livelsberger, served over 19 years in the Army, 18 of which were spent with special forces, according to his LinkedIn profile. His current role was listed as a remote and autonomous systems manager, which he had been in for just 3 months. A Colorado townhouse associated with Livelsberger was raided by the FBI late Wednesday night. Agents with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms were brought in to assist. The suspected bomber was raised in Colorado Springs and has reportedly been linked to several addresses in the city, including the one searched by investigators. The FBI said it does not think Jabbar, who was the bomber in the culprit in the New Orleans attack, was solely responsible for the Bourbon Street attack. Authorities are conducting a number of court-authorized search warrants. So they're going through and they're trying to figure out how these guys were connected, if they were. There's more photos of the Cybertruck on fire outside of Trump Tower, explosions which were caught on surveillance video as well. There were gasoline tanks. Police have released a series of photographs from inside the Cybertruck. It shows there's some kind of, I don't know if they're gasoline tanks or if they're just some kind of fuel tank or some kind of tank involving some flammable liquids. A ton of fireworks, as you may have seen from some of the videos, the fireworks just exploding everywhere. And then, and they continue to say there are similarities between the two attacks, not just the time frame, not just the fact that these two were both soldiers in the United States Army. They worked at the same base, or they served at the same base. And then, of course, there is the symbolism of Trump Tower, Elon Musk, and the Cybertruck. And let's not forget the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who's up for re-election on Friday, the 3rd of January, tomorrow, is also from Louisiana. He's from Shreveport. And Louisiana is, of course, where that deadly attack was. So there could be some political symbolism. I mean, it seems like there is political symbolism, but we'll have more on that as we get closer. Listen, there is going to be, while we're coming off of New Year's Eve, and the news is centered around these two deadly terror attacks and how we need to buckle down on the safety of our country. not just the border, but all agencies need to be on the lookout for the next 20 days. There is a lot of talk now about Speaker Mike Johnson and whether or not Donald Trump rallying support, Donald Trump sending out messages saying, I fully endorse Speaker Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson gets my full support. I would like Mike Johnson to remain Speaker of the House. There's a lot of questions about whether or not that will happen and whether or not there are Republicans who will stand in the way. Thomas Massie, as we all know, has already publicly stated he will not be supporting Mike Johnson. Chip Roy from Texas, who is always controversial, has also stated that he will not be or he has not yet decided whether or not Mike Johnson is the right guy. But with these new terror attacks and with Donald Trump looking for a clean start and with the Senate confirmation hearings and most importantly with Monday's certification of the Electoral College for Donald Trump, it is imperative to Donald Trump and to the Republican Party and to the rest of us that this Congress get going ASAP. And as you know, the rules and regulations are nothing happens in Congress unless there's a Speaker of the House. So we will be watching carefully that vote tomorrow. Hopefully it's one single vote. Hopefully they've been able to whip up the support that they need. If not, it may be multiple votes. It may go through the weekend. It may be a long weekend for our Congress people in Washington, D.C., and we will keep you updated the entire time on what's happening. In the meantime, if you wanted to, if you haven't tuned into our late day podcast, we have one every single day at noon. I guess it's not really late day. That's like midday. Every day at noon, Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. That is our second daily podcast, and you can find it wherever you want, on iTunes, on Spotify. We go long form, in depth. We have celebrity interviews. We have all kinds of fun stuff, news from all over the globe, not just Trump-related news about the 47th president of the United States. And like I said, that is every day at noon Eastern on YouTube and Rumble, or you can download our podcast anywhere you find your podcasts. Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. Download, listen, and enjoy.